All right, so welcome everyone to another deep dive. We're here to bring you the top 5 stories across DeFi, entertainment, and sports.
That's right, and we'll give you some of the analysis that you're not going to get just scrolling through the headlines.
Exactly. This deep dive is brought to you by Defiant, the on-chain lifestyle sports brand.
Yep, Defiant. And today we're going to be covering 5 topics. First, we're going to be talking about Ronin Network, which has seen a bit of a resurgence in terms of its mindshare.
Yeah, a little comeback story. Then we're going to be talking about U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports and how that's affecting crypto. Then we're going to be talking about Kraken partnering with MasterCard to allow Bitcoin payments at over 150 million merchants worldwide.
Huge.
Huge, exactly. Then we're going to get into sports. We'll talk about some tensions surrounding Olympic flag football and the NFLPA's involvement.
Yeah, some drama there.
Definitely some drama there. Then we'll wrap things up with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have now clinched the #1 seed in the NBA's Eastern Conference.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. All right, so why don't we start with the Ronin Network? You know, it's jumped back to number 13 in the Layer 1, Layer 2 blockchain rankings, and is now hitting a 0.98% mindshare, which is a 0.14% increase. It's basically back to its peak from early March. And, you know, when we talk about mindshare, it's really just a snapshot of how much activity and interest a blockchain is generating. This could be from developers or users or just general buzz around the ecosystem.
Yeah, it's kind of a measure of, how much the crypto world is paying attention. And with Ronin, what's really interesting is that there isn't just one reason for this resurgence. It's like a few things coming together at the right time.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. Like, what are some of the things that you think are contributing to this?
Well, for one, the integration with OpenSea seems to have been huge. It's made it way easier for people to buy and sell NFTs on Ronin. And we actually saw this play out. There was a noticeable spike in daily active NFT traders on Ronin just weeks after that OpenSea integration.
Right, because OpenSea is just such a big platform for NFTs. It makes sense that would have a big impact. What else is going on?
Well, there's also this really cool thing happening with what people are calling the Ronki community. It seems like there's this really dedicated and active user base that's driving a lot of organic growth. So it's like, more users attracting even more users.
Like a snowball effect.
Exactly, a snowball effect. And on top of that, there's a constant stream of new games and NFT projects choosing to build on Ronin. So there's this constant stream of fresh content and new things to explore. And that, of course, just makes the ecosystem more attractive to newcomers.
Yeah, it makes it feel more alive.
Exactly.
And it feels like Ronin is moving beyond just being the home of Axie Infinity, which is obviously what it was originally known for. It's attracting people who aren't necessarily coming in with that hardcore crypto ideology. They're coming for the games. They're coming for the NFTs. They're coming for that overall user experience.
Yeah, that's a really important point. I think Ronin is becoming more about fun and utility rather than, the hardcore crypto ideology that can sometimes be a little bit off-putting to people.
It's more accessible,
Exactly. And that makes it really interesting to think about the long-term implications. If Ronin can keep this up, it might actually become a competitor to some of the more established blockchains out there.
Yeah, it's not just a gaming niche anymore. It's becoming something much bigger.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's switch gears now and talk about this big economic news.
Yeah.
President Trump just signed this executive order, and it's putting a 104% tariff on all Chinese imports. And it goes into effect today, which is kind of crazy. Now, this might not seem like a direct crypto story, but it's definitely going to send shockwaves through global markets, which will obviously include, digital assets. And one of the most immediate impacts that we can see is an increase in the cost of Bitcoin mining hardware.
Right, because a huge percentage of that hardware is still made in China. They just have the infrastructure and energy considerations that make it, the place to do it.
Right.
This is where things get a little bit interesting. There's actually an argument, and it might sound a little counterintuitive, but there's an argument that this tariff situation could actually be bullish for Bitcoin.
Oh, okay. I'm curious about that.
So think about it this way. Tariffs create economic uncertainty. Right?
Yeah.
They mess with established trade flows, and they make people worry about inflation. And when things are uncertain like that, people tend to look for safe haven assets. And one of those assets is Bitcoin, because it has a fixed supply and it's decentralized.
Right. It's not controlled by any government.
Exactly. So when you've got governments making unpredictable moves like slapping tariffs on imports, Bitcoin starts to look pretty good to some people.
It's a hedge against those kinds of government policies.
Exactly.
But I imagine there's going to be some short-term volatility as well.
Oh, for sure. There will definitely be some bumps in the road. Some people will probably sell off their riskier assets, and that could include crypto, just because they're nervous.
Right.
But the big picture, for some folks, is that this is ultimately good for Bitcoin.
Interesting.
It's all about how people react to uncertainty.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something that's going to make Bitcoin a lot easier to use in the real world. Kraken just partnered with MasterCard.
Huge news.
Yeah, huge news. And what this means is that Bitcoin payments could be coming to over 150 million merchants worldwide. That is just a massive expansion of Bitcoin's utility.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big step towards making Bitcoin a real currency that you can use for your everyday transactions. It's not just an investment anymore.
Yeah, it's not just something you hold, it's something you can spend.
Exactly.
And the way I understand it is that Kraken users will be able to use their Bitcoin like it's a debit card.
Yeah.
They can spend it online, they can spend it in person, and the best part is they don't have to convert it to fiat currency first.
Exactly. It's seamless. And that's the key.
Right, because that's been the biggest obstacle to adoption.
It's a hassle to go back and forth. This just takes away all that friction.
And what's also really cool is that MasterCard is really getting involved in the Web3 space.
Yeah, they're not just dipping their toes in, they're diving in head first. It's a clear sign that traditional finance is starting to take digital assets seriously.
It feels like this could be a tipping point. If this partnership is successful, it could open the floodgates for other exchanges to do the same thing.
Yeah, it could be a real catalyst for mass adoption. We could see millions of people who were hesitant before suddenly feeling comfortable using crypto for everyday purchases.
It's exciting to think about. All right, let's move over to sports now. Flag football is making its debut at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, but there's some drama brewing behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
There's a report that the NFL Players Association, the NFLPA, is probably going to side with the league and the owners when it comes to NFL players participating in the games.
Yeah. It's a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal because, flag football in the Olympics is a huge opportunity for the NFL to expand their global reach. It's perfect for their international expansion strategy.
Makes perfect sense. So why is the NFLPA hesitant?
Well, for one thing, they're always worried about player safety.
Of course.
Even though flag football is non-contact, there's still a risk of injury. And then there's the whole issue of contracts and commercial rights.
Yeah, the business side of things.
Yeah, exactly. It's about figuring out who gets paid what and how to handle all those contractual obligations.
So if the NFL and the NFLPA can't work this out, we might see the Olympics without the biggest NFL stars.
Yeah, it's possible. And that would definitely take away some of the excitement. Imagine the Olympics without, the top players. It's just not the same.
Right. It's like having the Super Bowl without, any star quarterbacks.
Exactly.
And this whole situation could really affect how other sports leagues approach the Olympics in the future.
For sure. Yeah. It's a test case. Leagues have to figure out how to balance global exposure with the well-being of their players and all the business stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough balancing act. Okay, let's wrap things up with the NBA. The Cleveland Cavaliers have just clinched the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They beat the Chicago Bulls 135-113. That's a pretty decisive win.
Yeah, they really dominated.
Yeah, and for a team that's been kind of up and down in recent years, this is a really big deal. They've secured a great playoff position, and it looks like the balance of power in the East is shifting.
Yeah, for a while it felt like the East was dominated by just a few teams.
Right.
But now things are getting interesting.
Yeah, it's more unpredictable.
Exactly.
And what's cool about the Cavaliers is that they're not just relying on one superstar.
Yeah, it's a total team effort. Their front office has made smart decisions. They've developed their young players well, and they're using analytics really effectively.
Yeah.
It's a blueprint for how to build a winning team.
And for the fans, this is awesome. It's always exciting to see a team like the Cavs come out of nowhere and shake things up.
Yeah, it injects some fresh energy into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Makes things a lot more interesting.
And from the league's perspective, this is great too. More competition means more viewers, more excitement, and more revenue.
Exactly. A balanced league is a healthy league.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, another deep dive into the world of DeFi, entertainment, and sports. We talked about Ronin Network's resurgence, the U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports and their potential impact on crypto, the Kraken-MasterCard partnership that could bring Bitcoin payments to the masses, the drama surrounding Olympic flag football and the NFLPA, and the Cleveland Cavaliers' rise to the top of the Eastern Conference.
And remember, this deep dive was brought to you by Defiant, the on-chain lifestyle sports brand. We're here to give you the insights that go beyond the headlines so you can really understand what's happening and why it matters.
And as we wrap up, I just want to leave you with a thought. We talked about DeFi, entertainment, and sports today, but these areas are becoming more and more intertwined. On-chain technologies are playing a bigger and bigger role in all of them. So I'm curious, what kind of unexpected opportunities or challenges do you think will emerge from these convergences in the future? It's definitely something to think about.
A lot to think about.
Yeah, a lot to think about. And if you want to keep thinking about it with us, make sure you subscribe to The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.